Milan. Marco Valli is Chief Eurozone economist at UniCredit Global Research, joins us live from Milan. Thank you very much indeed for speaking to us. And so let me start then by asking you, good morning. So let me start by asking you whether or not the ECB's move then to provide dollar funding to these European banks will at least prevent funding problems from escalating any further for now.
Yeah, I do think so. Obviously, this is a short-term solution. We have seen clear signs of stress in the dollar funding market for European banks. So this coordinated move certainly goes in the right direction. However, it is clear that this cannot be a lasting solution. The bottom line is that the problems remains in the government's hands. It is the governments that really have to step up their effort to bring about a coordinated end to this debt crisis.
So Marco, from what you're saying, this is essentially a liquidity solution to what is a problem of insolvency. In other words, it's a temporary solution.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. It is up to governments to really set up the mechanism to resolve the crisis and even more importantly to strictly commit to the enforcement and enforce actually the policies to strengthen the budgetary situation and to increase the growth potential. So at the end of the day, central banks can only provide short-term relief, but certainly cannot solve problems that seem to be solvency problems.
Well, so the big focus today is that meeting of European finance ministers in Poland. Marco, how much does the presence of US Treasury Secretary Tim Geithner increase the likelihood of something tangible, some real policy action pledge emerging from this meeting?
I think it is an important sign, although today I do not expect a spectacular announcement. Actually, what I expect to hear is that the governments stick to their commitments to consolidate the budget and to deliver growth-enhancing measures, and particularly to stick to the commitments that were taken on July the 21st at the time of the second rescue package for Greece. This is essential. However, the presence of Mr. Geithner is important because it seems to bring on the table the possibility to leverage the EFSF, which I think could be potentially a smart move.
So do you think we will see something come out on that front, that the EFSF will be given some sort of partial government guarantee, a European version of the US loan facility?
Actually, I don't expect that to come out today, but the fact that Geithner is there is certainly because he wants to provide an advice to European governments, and potentially we could start moving in that direction. But I do not expect an announcement today.
How soon, I mean, what sort of timeline do you expect in terms of moving in that direction? You know, ring-fencing the banks, you know, some sort of US TARP program. We keep hearing about this, that this is what could really help, you know, recapitalizing the banks and ridding them of their toxic assets. Do you think that is something we're going to see going forward, like this year?
I mean, time is running out. However, we still have to consider that, for instance, in Germany, there is still the opposition to have the EFSF injecting directly liquidity into banks. The Germans prefer the EFSF to lend to governments and then governments to take all the necessary measures to inject liquidity and capital into banks. So we still have to see probably some quite a bit of discussion on this, but I do think this could be the beginning of a move in the right direction.
Marco Valli, Chief Eurozone economist at UniCredit Global Research, thanks very much. Good to get your thoughts.
Thank you.